2016 meeting. I will call this meeting to order. Please stand with us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Move on to roll call. Please sign in. Holly?
All councilors present, with Councilor Vigil previously requesting to be excused, and a quorum has been declared.
Move on to agenda approval. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
There is not.
Thank you.
If not, Mayor, I'll go ahead and make the motion to approve the agenda and excusing Councilor Vigil.
I'll go ahead and second.
Got a motion and a second on the agenda approval. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, start voting, please. Ms. Hawley?
The motion carried unanimously.
Thank you. Next up, we have audience comments. Alamosa City Council welcomes your comments. Citizens wishing to speak may obtain and complete a speaker card through the city clerk at the start of the meeting. I have one card from Mr. Ron Brink. Thank you for being here, Mr. Brink. Please identify yourself and your address if you wish. You have a 3-minute
right.
time limit. Thank you.
My name is Ron Brink. I live in rural Alamosa County. Thank you, Mayor and Councilman. I've wanted to get here earlier to do this, but circumstances didn't allow me to make as many meetings as I thought I would here in the last couple of months. But anyway, a few weeks ago, I observed a raid on a house, and it was a cooperation of the Alamosa County, City Police Department, the Alamosa County, and the Colorado Highway Patrol, and I would just think that they need to be congratulated. I thought they handled themselves extremely well. I was so surprised at the cooperation, and also it was just amazing the way that they respected and treated the suspects. They did exactly what I thought needed to be done, if it needed to be done. Otherwise, they were very respectful. And I wanted you folks to know, and I've also talked to the county commissioners and let them know. But I just wanted them to know that I think they're doing a fine job.
Thank you, Mr. Brink. We certainly appreciate comments like that, and I know our police department will also be appreciative. I know Jackson, let's see, what's his name? Anderson. Sorry about that, is back there, so I'm sure he'll relay that to the chief. Thank you. That's all I have for citizen comments. We'll move on to consent calendar A. The consent calendar allows multiple actions with one motion. Consent calendar A contains routine items which have been recommended for action by staff or advisory boards. Council may remove a consent calendar item for separate consideration. Tonight we have 2 items: the approval of the minutes for the meeting of October the 19th, 2016, and the appointment of Rob Mabry to the Historical Preservation Advisory Board. Council, what are your wishes? Councilman Daniel.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, I move that we approve consent calendar A.
I second.
I've got a motion and a second to approve consent calendar A. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, start voting, please. Ms. Hawley?
The motion carried unanimously.
Thank you. Next up, we have regular business, presentations from outside agencies. Tonight we have a presentation and an introduction to Mr. Dustin Allinger, the new Alamosa County Regional Airport Manager. Thank you for being here, sir. We appreciate your presence.
And Mayor, while he's coming up, I'd like to make a couple of comments.
Absolutely, Councilman Gray.
Maybe a little history about the airport manager and how we've gotten to this point. Years ago, and I don't think there's nobody around here that's, I don't think even Eric's been around that long, that how this thing was put together. Years ago, we had an intergovernmental agreement with the county where they would take care of the airport and we would take care of the library. And the way the airport managed position worked was every 4 years, it was the city manager who would do it for 4 years, and then it would switch over to the county administrator. Well, it got to a point where finally we told the county, why don't you guys go ahead and you take care of the airport and we'll take care of the library. And at that time, they went ahead and the county administrator started taking care of that. And back then, they had maybe 1 or 2 people on board. Well, through our master plan and some other, the interviews we did with our carriers, everybody wanted to have a full-time airport manager, especially like the Adams State colleges, Trinidad, our hospitals, people from all over the valley, because this is a regional airport. So finally, the county administrator, the airport board, finally put together where we decided there's enough a loud voice out there that we need one, that we decided to go out there and hire one, and we brought in Dustin for this. So I asked him to come down tonight to just introduce himself and maybe give a little update on some of what's going on at the airport and stuff. So
Absolutely.
welcome, Dustin.
Thank you. Thank you, Charlie. So I'm very privileged to have been selected as the airport manager here. My family and I are both very excited to be here. My wife, Andrea, and 3 kids, they're at home tonight. We moved here, we moved to Colorado a little over a year ago from San Antonio, Texas. I had about 10 years of experience at the airport in San Antonio, worked my way up from literally from the basement of the building to the operations supervisor. And from there I moved over to Colorado Springs. My family and I, we had vacationed here and had a race out in Aspen, and my wife had ran in Alma. That's a really high place to run to. There's really no oxygen there, but she did it. She struggled through. And well, this position opened, and I started doing research. That's what I do. I do a lot of research. And I saw that the airport board had put the airport in a very good position by asking Boutique Airlines to come here. And we have Michelle McNulty from Boutique. She is the marketing and community manager with Boutique Airlines. And also with the new terminal building, it's brand new. It's a beautiful place. I really couldn't think of a better place to come and be a part of it. There's a great staff out there. I've got Chris, Tony, Ben. They work hard day in and day out. And Charlie and the rest of you, I think you did the right thing by hiring a full-time airport manager. I don't know how anybody did it outside of that, because I'll tell you what, I've been up to my eyeballs in work already. But I wasn't prepared for a presentation, but I do have a few things that I can touch on. Boutique Airlines has started recently. They've had very good passenger enplanements. I haven't seen quite full flights yet. Maybe Michelle could touch a little bit more on that. We don't have a lot of details on those until the end of next month, probably after the airport board meeting. I've asked for some statistics on that. The airfield construction projects, there are 2 that are currently underway. Actually, we just wrapped up one today. It's realignment of some taxiway markings and runway markings and signs. That went pretty quickly and fairly well. And we had a pre-design meeting for the big reconstruction project of our runway. The runway, 8,500 feet of asphalt, is scheduled to be milled and overlaid next year. It's a $6 million project, and the majority of that is funded by the FAA through Airport Improvement Program. There's a CDOT match, and then the county is, we're working to come up with the match for the rest of that. Now, I did want to touch on the condition of the airfield just for a moment, because I saw that article in the Valley Courier, just like everybody else did. I want to make sure everybody understands it's a safe airport. So the airport is safe. It's just, there's a few things that can be improved on, and it's just a matter of not having a full-time person to keep an eye on things, to make sure the staff is properly trained. Very simple items, and we're working to correct them. Chris, Tony, and Ben, they're working hard every day. And I'm trying to give them the time they need to work in the safety areas and get those completed. The one other thing that we're really excited about and that we're moving towards is a marketing plan for the airport. That marketing plan will be geared towards both increasing employments for the commercial air service that we have, and towards improving the infrastructure, the tenants on the airfield, maybe trying to encourage other tenants to come into our airport. And I think there's already a few people that are looking at us for hangar leases and things like that. There's a waiting list right now for the T hangars. That's the private hangars where if you owned an airplane, you'd park it. I think that's about it. The parking lot also. I know you guys have seen the parking lot, and you'll see it tomorrow at the ribbon cutting ceremony, 8:30 in the morning, sharp. If you have time, there'll be some pastries out there, and Darius, the commissioner, he'll be out there, and also Tim Gallagher, the chairman of the airport board, and Sean Simpson with Boutique Airlines. Anybody have any questions?
Well, thank you. Councillor Hensley.
So I've actually had the pleasure to have been in a couple meetings with you already. I am truly looking forward to working on the marketing plan with you. I think that's going to be very exciting. I definitely am supportive of the airport. I'm supportive of the airlines. I think it's going to make a big difference for our community. I've already talked to a few people who have already flown, and they think it has been phenomenal. They said, oh my gosh, it's been a great experience. So I think once more people realize that and get the word out, I think it's going to be that much better. But I do know there's a lot of people that support, so we just got to get that going. So I truly want to welcome you here, and I'm looking forward to working with you more.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Stefano.
Welcome. I hope you stay for quite a while. We have needed an airport manager. Boutique Airlines, you got some great planes, and I was looking at one, and they're pretty awesome. So keep up the good work. We needed an airport manager, and the best to you.
Thank you.
Councillor Griego.
One comment, now, he's located out at the airport, so he's got an office at the airport. So before you would try to track down the airport manager, and you'd have to go through all the county commissioner buildings and see where he was at. So now he's the airport manager, and he's at the airport, so.
Still behind security, though.
Thank you very much, Dustin.
Thank you.
Very good, very good.
And I
Dustin,
just-
anyone else?
Yes, if I could, when we were holding the hearings, the community hearings in regards to the Essential Air Service, I just wanted to share with you the significant amount of support that came out, both for Boutique, but then also just in general support for the airport. A lot of the major employers, such as the hospital, ASU, a lot of citizens came out and talked about the importance that the airport does play for this community. So I think there's a lot of excitement for you to be here as a full-time manager, and a lot of people who, because of the previous service not being very reliable, weren't relying on it, but they're very excited to start partnering again and working with the airport. So I think you're going to continue to have a full plate for a while, but it will be exciting, I would think. So it's a great time.
Thank you. Would it be okay to bring Michelle up here for just a moment?
Oh, sure, please. Welcome, Michelle.
Hi, thanks for having me. As you said, Michelle, I'm the Marketing and Community Manager for Boutique, and we're very excited to be here and starting flights. And tomorrow is our ribbon cutting, so I expect to see all of you there. There will be coffee, pastries, and orange juice, and a few speakers. And it's a really exciting time. We're very excited to be here, yeah. And if I can answer any questions that you guys have, happy to. I can give you guys my card as well. I'll be the direct contact for the community on marketing, sponsorships, anything along those lines. Yeah.
Councillor Hensley.
So I guess I do have two questions.
Okay.
So I have actually had I do work at Adams State, and so I've had a lot of people already ask me if you're going to do any of the books, so where you can buy 10 or 20 tickets, that type of thing. So do you know that yet?
Yeah, they're already up. So
Awesome.
if you create a account with Boutique and just put in all your information, a voucher kind of on the main menu will pop up, and you just click on that and then buy the pack of 10.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'll spread the word.
Yeah.
Number two is I know you were working on trying to get some baggage agreements. Do you know if you've gotten any of those yet?
We are very, very close.
Oh, good.
By end of year, we're hoping. It's not really, we've submitted and we've done everything. We're just waiting for them to give us the green kind of go-ahead.
Awesome.
But we're very, very close, hoping by the end of the year it'll all be ready.
Great.
Yeah.
That's awesome
Yeah.
news. So
Yeah.
thank you very much and welcome. And again, looking forward to great things. So
Thank you. We're very excited to be here.
Michelle and Dustin, you know, we're honored to have you here. You know, you bring with you your credentials, your background, and your vision for our airport as well as for our community. And so we thank you for being here. Appreciate you being here. Welcome. And as someone said, we hope you stay a long time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question, Michelle.
Oh, yeah.
Are you going to have any of the planes out there tomorrow?
Yeah, so one will be landing as coming in from Denver as we're doing the ribbon cutting. And so we'll deboard it, get all the bags off, do a security check, and we actually are allowing people to tour around the plane. Media will be able to get inside to take pictures, but we won't allow everyone to get inside because we do have to take off again. But one plane will be out there so people can see it and peek their head in and everything, so yeah.
Great, thank
Yeah.
you.
I did want to apologize for not being at your ribbon cutting early. I will be at jury duty at 8:30 in the
Oh,
morning.
gosh.
So that's why I will not be there. But
Okay.
best of luck to you.
Thank you, thank you. Good, okay.
Thank you.
We will next move on to business brought forward by city staff, Parks and Recreation. We have two items this evening. First one is a Resolution 15-2016, a resolution to act as the fiscal agent for the grant application for the Alamosa Ball Fields Improvement Project grant from the State Board of the Great Outdoors Colorado Trust Fund. Thank you for being here, Heinz.
You betcha. Good evening.
Good evening.
Very similar to what we've done in just the last few weeks with the GOCO Inspire grant. This is also a case where the Alamos School District is not an eligible receiver of a GOCO grant, so we're partnering with them to be the fiscal agent for that grant. And as you saw there, it's for the improving the Alamosa ball fields that are next to our Ortega Middle School. It's about a $1.3 million project, and the grant that we're going after is the $350,000, which is the max for GOCO for LPOR.
And then also for both this item and the other item, you'll notice in the audience, we do have representatives from the school district. So I don't know if you had anything you planned to say or if you're just here for questions, but I wanted to make sure we recognize that they are here and for both of these items.
Absolutely. Would you folks like to come up and say anything, or? It's our superintendent of schools, our chairperson for the school board, and a school board member, Charlie Sanchez, Mrs. Romero, and of course, Mr. Alejo. Welcome, sir. Welcome to all of you.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Thank you for the acknowledgement, City Manager Brooks. First and foremost, just want to give thanks for your consideration. Thank you for entertaining this MOU that's before you this evening. I have been briefed on the information that you've been privy to coming into this evening. I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the work of a lot of good folks, many of whom are in this audience this evening, in putting together this grant application. We have a dynamite firm out of the metro area, CSHQA, and while the initials may not register for many of us in this audience, this firm has been instrumental in many school districts around the state of Colorado obtaining best school grants, building excellent schools today. Their track record is a great one, and we're very fortunate to have them in our corner. And when I say our corner, I really need to emphasize that is a reflection of our partnership that we hope to continue forward with after this evening. So that's my podium spiel, and I'll do my best to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Alejo. Any questions for Mr. Alejo? Councilperson Daniel.
Thank you, Mayor. It's a repeat for what we talked about earlier, Superintendent, but I just wanted to clarify, this will also be available for softball and baseball, so it's not just a one-gender sport.
You are absolutely correct. The design lends to a ball field that can be designed and set up for high school baseball with the appropriate dimensions as set forth by the Colorado High School Association, as well as setting up for our inaugural year and forthcoming years for girls softball program. And so the bases can be, proper grammar, can be shortened to the proper length, as well as the pitcher's mound for baseball, which you're well aware of, especially tonight, Game 7. As you're well aware, the high school baseball program requires a mound, but with this field, the mound could be removed and it would be flat, to where a softball pitching mound could be in the design as well. Great question, thank you.
And also, when we get to the MOU portion, which are the ordinance, also part of the GOCO is the same thing as Inspire, was that there'll be 25 years of access, public access to the facility when the school is not needing it for their ball games and stuff. So it's very similar to what we did over at the high school football field and the track.
Very good. Very good. Councilor Griego.
I guess a question for Heinz. In reading this recommendation, it says to act as a fiscal agent. Can you explain that on this grant?
Sure. Since the school district is not eligible to receive the grant directly, we'll be the ones that are actually putting our names on the grant, have the money funneled to us, and then the school will provide us invoices, which will pay for the $350,000 if it's awarded as such.
Thank you. All right. I guess this is, at this point in time, do we have any other comments? What a great symbiotic relationship we have here through this. This is something that we can work together on again.
Yes,
Appreciate
most
that.
definitely.
All right.
And just to reiterate what Mr. Bergman said, upon obtaining the GOCO grant funding, it does lend to a park environment to where it would benefit the entire community.
Appreciate that. Councilor Daniel.
Mayor, if there's no further discussion, I move that we approve Resolution 15, 2016, a resolution to act as the fiscal agent for the grant application for the Alamosa Ball Fields from the State Board of the Great Outdoors Colorado Trust Fund.
I second.
Thank you, Councilor Stefano. I've got a motion and a second on resolution number 15-2016. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, start voting, please. Ms. Hawley?
The motion carried unanimously.
Thank you, Council. Then we'll move on to the second part of this, which is
We'll talk afterwards, okay? All right.
a resolution, a first reading on ordinance number 19-2016, an ordinance approving an intergovernmental agreement with the Alamosa School District to apportion responsibilities with respect to a GOCO grant for the Alamosa ball fields. Thank you, Heinz.
Okay. In addition to being the fiscal agent, there's also a requirement in the GOCO grant, because since the property does not belong to the city, that we establish an MOU with the school district on the process, who's responsible for what, guaranteeing public access for 25 years. And that's what's in front of you right now for the first reading tonight, is that MOU and the ordinance.
Councilor Griego.
Well, if there's no further questions, I'll go ahead and make the motion that we approve the ordinance on first reading and set it for a public hearing on November 16th at 7 o'clock or soon thereafter.
I've got a motion and a second on ordinance number 19-2016. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, start voting, please. Ms. Hawley?
The motion carried unanimously.
Thank you, council.
Thank you.
Thank you, Heinz.
I know, I was gonna say, let's go this meeting.
We will now move on to committee reports. Anyone have a committee report? Councillor Daniel.
Thank you, Mayor. I have two. I was able to attend the golf board their past meeting for Councilor Hensley as she was out of town. And I just have to say, I know that there have been challenges going on with the golf board and things like that, and they, came and presented to us, but they're working really hard to manage their finances appropriately. I think they have a great plan. They did have to, in their refinancing plan, find a different bank to work with, but I think that is going very well. And so they have what I would consider a better direction than they have had, and they're really working hard together. So that's kind of the update there. And they were very appreciative of our support, council. And so that was also very nice to hear. And then Councilor Coleman and I are fortunate, I'm going to say fortunate, to be on the zoning committee for the update of our zoning plan for the city. And last night was our first meeting, and I found it fascinating and just wonderful to be able to talk about all the ways we use the properties within our city. And so I'm really excited about the updates to our zoning that will be able to happen with this, and it should be much simpler for people to understand, as well as much simpler for city staff to be able to give people the right direction from the beginning about what licenses and services they can provide and where those businesses or other things can be set. And so it's just been a wonderful project. So thank you for allowing me to be on that.
Thank you. Councillor Diego.
I just wanted to point out that as your airport representative on the airport board, I always bring down the minutes, and there's a reading file, so you can go through the minutes and read what's going on and stuff. So there's a file down there where people can see it. So, okay. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Grego. Anyone else? We'll move on then to staff announcements. Ms. Heather?
Thank you, Mayor. As Heinz is working his way up, I'll do a few quick events. As indicated, we do have the ribbon cutting tomorrow for Boutique Air. November 15th, the governor will be in town for his town hall meeting, and so there's some activities related to that. And then November 16th, just a reminder again, it's going to be a little bit of a longer night. We will be starting at 5 p.m. because that will be the joint meeting with council and P&Z to look at the draft of the comprehensive plan. So we'll get that full draft. We will be ordering dinner and coordinating for that. We'll then have our regular meeting at 7, which we're hoping to keep a small agenda because following that, we will have a work session for the presentation of the design of the ice rink multipurpose facility. And again, that's a presentation during a work session. So it's just to make sure that you get a chance to see that before they run harder numbers on it and those types of things. So it's not something that would be voted on. And then November 18th is Celebration of Lights. And I think, Heinz, that ties into some of what you wanted to discuss.
You bet. Did send out a mass email today and to everyone, and should have gotten it, the flyer. So our 9th annual Celebration of Lights will be Friday, November 18th at 5 p.m. It's going to start out with a free performance by the SLV Community Band at the Alamosa Firehouse. Then at 6 p.m. we'll be heading over here to the City Hall complex with the lighting of that and the train pavilion. And then there'll be a procession down to the Alamosa County Courthouse for their lighting ceremony. And then on downtown, the Jolly Old St. Nick will be at the roast this year. So, bring your cameras and the kids, and he'll be there about 6:30. And as always, we've got DJ E, who will be, again, filling the downtown area with holiday tunes in front of J.C. Penney's. And we'll also have a little fireworks display here while we're here. So, any questions?
Thank you, Heinz. Seems
All right.
like the holidays are here already.
Wow, we took care of Halloween, and now it's right into Thanksgiving, Christmas, just like
Heinz,
that.
I can't believe the weather. I mean, what is going on? It's just been beautiful, and I
That
hope it
it has.
stays that way. But,
And it's
being things the way they are, many times we'll probably have like 6 inches of snow that day. Who knows?
Well, one year we had, the celebration lights, we had a coating of snow all over. It was festive. So anyway, yeah, the park staff went out today and cut the Christmas trees. So you'll be starting to see the decorations going up very quickly.
Thank you, Heinz.
All right.
Appreciate your,
Few more
Ms.
staff
Heather?
updates. Want to let council know we have a meeting set up to meet with USDA and DOLA representatives on that laundry list of wastewater treatment plant projects, the capital projects that we have. We want to look at how we can package that, what our eligibility is for different funding sources, and make sure that we're moving that forward appropriately. So that's coming up within the next few weeks. We also have our first meeting for a potential public art program group, and so we have individuals who are hopefully passionate about art and will come lend their expertise and help us get that program off the ground. So that first meeting has been set for November as well. To add a little bit of clarification for the information Councilor Daniel presented, if you remember, we're not just doing the update to the comprehensive plan, which has been for the past year a very intensive outreach to the public, pulling technical information, all of that kind of stuff. So that document, which is called the comprehensive plan, we're starting to wind that down to have that presentation to the public, to council, planning and zoning on what that plan is going to look like. Then at the same time, we're starting to pick up the rewrite for the code. And so a lot of that stuff we took in from the comp plan process of how people want the community to look and what they like, what they don't. Some of that's going to start presenting itself in the actual code, and that's how you can have your community look how you actually want it to look and grow the way you want it to grow. And so it's somewhat two separate processes, but by combining it, we're able to combine the input from one process and make the other one a much better process. And so that's how those two items relate together. The other one I wanted to mention is we have scheduled a Valley Manager Administrator lunch that's going to be occurring in November. So we'll be able to get a feel for what's going on for other communities and counties in the Valley and see if we can pull ideas from each other and collaborate on different items. So that's coming up in November. And then lastly, from an economic development perspective, ASU has been very aggressive in leading the charge on our partners, our sector partnerships for value-added agriculture. And one of the outshoots of that is the hemp symposium that will be this Saturday. There's a lot of committees working with the value-added agriculture and trying to look at not only sustaining that as an industry here in the Valley, but how can we help grow it and make it stronger. The other partnership that we've been working on together is healthcare, and we've started really picking the pace back up with those. We have 6 committees, dealing with one with nursing, some with youth awareness, another with workforce, transitions in care, and I'm probably leaving off a few. But we have 6 committees, and we're all meeting this week and next week, and we're really getting the energy going again. I can tell you some of the professionals have one looked at me yesterday and said, so why are you guys doing this? Is there a grant involved? And I said, well, you know, there's the potential for grant, but really the reason a lot of the partners were sitting around the table is we understand that the healthcare industry is important to the Valley from an economic perspective, and we want to help sustain that, we want to help grow it, and we all need to play a role in that. And so I think the conversations are very positive, and again, it's Valley-wide. It's not just Alamosa-centric. And so that's why ASU is leading the agriculture side, because they're seen as a neutral. And even though I'm helping on the healthcare, Dr. Simone with TSJC is helping to lead that. So we can make sure everybody's coming to the table and to partner. And it was exciting. We had representative with Andy at the 2 meetings today. So we've got K through 12 sitting at the table helping with these discussions as well. So with that, I think Pat has a quick update on the water tower. And as he's coming up, I would be remiss if I didn't point out the smashing success that we had Monday night with the trunk or treat out at Cole Park. It was the first time that this was done. I think everyone, both attendees and people organizing it, were surprised by how many showed up. Everyone we've talked to, it's been positive comments. People have talked about wanting to donate candy next year so we don't run out, helping to volunteer. People talked about they brought their kids because they felt safe. They could trust the candy that was being handed out, those types of things. So staff, I know from some council members, when you've been approached by people in the community, it's been a very positive experience. And so kudos to our police department for pulling that off.
Absolutely. Thank you, Pat.
Thank you, sir. As you know, we advertised an RFP to paint the inside of the water tank on Craft this year. The contract was awarded to McGuire Iron. They've been in business for over 100 years. They've got a very strong reputation. They will be beginning work at the tank in about a week and a half. Next week, we'll start draining the tank. Tank should be empty and offline for a little less than a month. We've got everything lined out. We have inspectors lined out. Everything we're hoping should go smoothly. We've had pre-bid and pre-construction meetings on site, so everybody's going into it with their eyes wide open, and it should be a smooth process.
Thank you, Pat. Appreciate that. Are there any further staff announcements?
Mayor, I had a question of staff, if I
Councilor
may.
Grego?
Can you give us an update on the hiring of a finance director? How's that coming along?
Given the type of position that it is, we would traditionally do a longer advertisement. For department heads, we would traditionally advertise for a month. More because of the type of materials we're advertising in. It's more of a regional advertisement as well. So the closing date actually is November 25th. We are receiving applications. I'll be reviewing them probably on a weekly basis. So once the closing does occur, we're not losing time. So we're going to try to have everything planned out and scheduled and move that as quickly as possible. I will say the two individuals that we have who are assisting us in the interim are amazing. They're really helping us on a day-to-day basis, not only maintain our daily operations, but make some of the corrections that we need to make in the department and those types of things as well.
Thank you. We'll then move on to council comment. Who has a comment? Councilor Coleman.
Thank you, Mayor. My comment is for Dana and the rest of the police office team and the fire department and all the city employees who volunteered at the smashing event on Monday. Wow, it was so impressive to see so many families and people out there having a good time. And over the past few days, I've had a lot of people from the business community as well as a lot of our residents come up to me and encourage us to do that again next year because they felt safe to bring their kids there and they had a good time. We had a lot of community partners also who came and participated, and I wanted to thank those community partners as well. And we oftentimes talk about quality of life, and it's kind of hard to describe quality of life, but when you go to a successful event like that, that gives you a good solid example of what we can do together when we collaborate as a team in our community, and it shows the benefits of us working together so we can promote that type of quality of life. So Captain Anderson, if you don't mind, would you let Dana know that I greatly appreciate her putting that on and all the support that she got from the rest of the team as well. Thank you.
Councilor Stefano.
I just want to thank Public Works for their they moved pretty fast on the request on 9th Street, Ms. Vihil's property to patch the street there. Kudos, good job. She's a happy camper. Thank you.
Councilor Hensley.
So I am going to echo what Councilman Coleman said. Just because it was such a great event, I also was there on Monday. I was there with my daughters and my granddaughters, and it was just really exciting. It was definitely a lot more people than I think anybody expected, but it was great to see all the kids too, how much, it was really a community event. So the kids, seeing other kids they go to school with or they know from teams, things like that, I got to witness that. Also, I know on my end, seeing people sometimes you don't run into all the time. So just overall, it wasn't just for the kids. I think the adults enjoyed it. I think all ages enjoyed it. It was very well run. Obviously, the lines were there, but they went through very quickly, smoothly. So I do want to echo what you said, and boy, what a great first start at this. And I'm looking forward to each year as we go further. I think it's going to be something we can continue to grow with. So thank you.
Councilor Grego.
Well, right around the corner, it's Veterans Day already, so on the 11th, and we're going to have a parade for it. Parade starts at 10:40, but it starts setting up about maybe 9:30, 10, and I'm inviting council to sit on the pass and review as they do. There'll be other members up there also, so I'd like to see you guys come down and enjoy the parade, Veterans Day.
Thank you, Councilman Grego. I had the distinct honor of having some Girl Scouts come through our City Hall, and I want to thank each and every department head, especially our city manager, and even Councilor Coleman was there to meet some of our Girl Scouts, and they had some very interesting questions, and they thoroughly enjoyed coming to City Hall and seeing what city government is basically all about, toward the library, public works, city manager's office, our city clerk's office. And Jolene was just really wonderful, and as all our staff is. And thank you very much for that. To echo Councilor Hensley's description of kids enjoying themselves, they certainly did. And so I appreciated what staff did for them as well as for me. And so that's my comment. Anyone else? If there's nothing else, I will adjourn this meeting. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.